first rule of real estate is don't prejudge anyone by the way they look, what they drive, or anything.
You just don't know.
This guy turned in to be, the same thing would happen when I started working with celebrities. My biggest client was Rock Nation, and I didn't prejudge this kid that was buying a house in Lakeside. $400,000 house turned into working with the biggest music celebrities in the world because I didn't prejudge him.
Wow.
I took his word for it. I trust but verify.
Right, right. And then you give them, like you said, the service that you would give, doesn't matter who they are.
Yeah.
I may have never heard of you. You're going to get the service I give to the most famous people.
Yeah, and his mom saw that, and she's the one that really changed our life.
You know the pieces and shares of all big sky high. Check the movement is here. Yeah. It's one heart, one shot. Now the future is yours. Go.
Hi, welcome back to the Compass Studio. Today, my guest is Todd Armstrong. Really interesting agent. I'm really glad you're here. We're going to have a great conversation.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Good to be here.
So let's start off with something easy. Tell me, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Covington, Kentucky, which is right outside of Cincinnati, Ohio. And I left there in 1986, joined the Navy at 17 years old, and turned 18 in boot camp, and then found my way out to San Diego in 1990.
Assuming you had a big party at 18 in boot camp?
Yeah, in boot camp, yeah.
And this is how you discovered San Diego?
That is. I got transferred out here, worked on the F-14 Tomcats at Miramar. So VF-211, a couple other squadrons there.
So when you got out of the Navy, where were you physically?
I was here in San Diego, but that was in 2009, I retired. I did 23 years. But all my retiree buddies all started working for General Atomics. So the drone program, so they convinced me, they're like, come on, work with us for about 3 years. I'm like, well, I have my real estate business. I don't really want to work.
You had started the real estate while you were still in the military.
Yeah,
you got your license.
I did that part-time for 10 years because I wanted to be set up when I got out.
Right.
Plenty of referrals and things like that. So I planned ahead. But then I joined General Atomics, and I was running a full-time real estate business back here. And 3 weeks later, after joining them, I'm in Iraq and running the drone program over there. So I did that for 3 years, turned quickly into 5 years.
Wow.
And then I transferred from there to Afghanistan, and I was gone I'd go for 3 months and come back for 2 months, and gone for 3 months, come back for 2 months. At that time, I worked for a broker in Mission Hills, and he would look at me and go, man, you're selling more real estate from Afghanistan than all my agents in my office combined. I was like, as long as I have you here on the ground, you can show properties, I'll send you business. So that's how we worked it.
So you were just staying in touch with people, even from over there?
Yep. I was doing deals and writing offers from Afghanistan.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were over there as that's what's called a private contractor?
I was a private contractor, worked for the government, just taking out terrorists. That's all we did, was hunt down terrorists.
So a job you enjoyed?
I did enjoy it. Yeah. I still miss it every once in a while. And then every year they try to recruit me, try to get me back. And I'm like, no, it's okay.
Now this is because you're running a very successful real estate business.
Right.
They're done.
No, I'm done.
I'm doing this.
I'm tired of being shot at and mortars and rockets and things like that.
It's got to be funny to you talking to agents who talk about, the worst thing that ever happened last week.
Yeah.
You have
Try a mortar round coming in.
A little different idea of what a bad day is.
Exactly.
The escrow canceled. Not a bad day yet.
Not a bad day yet. I just had one canceled today.
But you have a lot of perspective, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, 100%.
That's got to be one hell of a tool that you're able to bring to your clients.
Yep. Which is, we're getting ready to launch a new division within. I've always had it as our military division. More to come about that. I can't really talk about it yet. It's not launched.
I was going to ask you about that, but there's
something in the
very
works.
special coming. Yeah. Okay. Well, you got teased here first. We'll have more later.
Yep. Exactly.
You also have another division that you're heavily involved in.
Yep. The sports and entertainment division. When I was at my previous company, I was their executive director of sports and entertainment. All that means is I work with, some celebrity clients and professional athletes, a lot in LA. We don't have a team here anymore. So I joined Compass mainly because of that, because they have an actual national network. There's 125 of us nationwide, and we specialize in working with celebrities and professional athletes. So, in fact, I just finished a conference in New York last weekend with them. So just putting together our vision, our mission statement, getting it all ready.
So this is something where you guys come together, I assume, and share. There's somewhat specialized knowledge. There's ways to do things that the average residential agent isn't dealing with.
Right, because you're dealing with managers, brokers, attorneys, all these middlemen, to try to, and then it's white glove service from coast to coast. We try to keep it as seamless as possible. When I do a referral, I just recently had one in Miami, so I called Ben Moss. He's our national director. I've done referrals with him many times, so I know he can take care of this type of client. But instead of just handing him off, I flew there, set up a lunch meeting so we can meet in person. I can introduce my client to them and then hand him off that way.
Right,
So
because the
that's
client needs that level of,
care. And I literally flew in for lunch and flew out the next day.
wow. Do you find that trickles down into your everyday business? Because you're also still just working with homeowners and
heck yeah.
non-celebrities all the time.
Yeah. Hey, our motto is $1 million service at all price points. So our favorite client still is a military home buyer. People are like, we used to lose business every year because people thought we only did $1 million homes.
Right.
And that's like, that can be, that's not true. It's like, I think last year our lowest price was $68,000
Wow.
and then up to 10.5. I'm like, so we run the gamut. But our favorite client is still the military home buyer, first time home buyer, because there's more pleasure giving the key to somebody like that because they worked their entire life getting that house. It's a lot of joy in that.
There's a certain gut, there's a passion that's got nothing to do with the transaction or the money or any of that.
It's just the smiles on their faces and, they got a piece of the American pie,
I got to think though, and this is probably why your business is, I'm not going to go into numbers, but
Yeah.
you run a very successful real estate business. The people get the benefit of the luxury business that you run because once you understand it, you bring it everywhere.
Yeah.
And you had to bring that to get the athletes and the entertainers.
Yeah. We use the same level of service for all of our clients, no matter what. Even if it's a rundown little condo, you're still going to get the same marketing things that we do for everybody.
Right. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So there was no job in between. You went into the military, came out,
Real estate.
real estate you were already doing, and a little detour off to the
Little
Middle East to
detour,
do
that's
drones.
for General Atomics, yeah.
What's something you really like about real estate? What's kept you doing this?
Work for myself. I like to empower other people, my team members, to be successful. So I allow them a lot of free reign. I want them to be successful because if they're successful, I am. So I try to help them in every way I can. Just real estate is in general. It's like gives me back my life, time, work for yourself, get up when you want to get up. It's just an amazing life. I can't get any better.
Yeah, especially, I got to hop on a plane, fly to Miami, take care of a client.
Yeah.
That's a pretty fun job.
Yeah, it is.
What's the other side of the coin? What about real estate? Is there something that you dislike?
Probably the least thing I don't like is putting out open house signs. I hate it, but I have a solution coming for that. So, and not just hiring somebody to put them out for me, but there's a lot of there's little things like that I don't like. But it's a lot of hard work, and I'm talking a lot of hard work. It took me years to build what I got now. And I get at least once a week I sit down with some person that wants to get their license. Everybody wants to get their license. And I usually talk them out of it.
Because they don't know what's...
No, I say 95, 5% of the agents make 95% of all the money.
Right.
That's a fact.
Right.
Because people get in thinking it's going to be easy and glamorous, and they're not seeing me, doing sewer scopes and,
Up at night.
yeah, up at night worrying about what's going to happen in the transaction. All this gray hair is from real estate, not just Afghanistan.
You said something that I've talked about and believe, but I don't hear it very often. The 80-20 principle is pretty universal. And it should be 20% of the agents doing 80% of the business, but it's not.
It's not. Yeah.
Real estate is really skewed.
Yeah.
5% do 80% of the business.
Yeah. It's because it's hard work. And, I remember when I first started, I'm like, I'm going to do what all the other agents don't want to do. And that was open houses and things like, there's still agents that don't like to do open houses and floor time. I started out my career doing that, and I still work with those same clients 20 years later. They walked in, I'm like, so I still practice what I preach. I do
Right.
open houses every weekend. I do floor time when I can. So I'm not sitting there telling my team to do this. I'm telling them they should be doing this.
Right. This is how you start your business.
Yeah. You want to get leads? That's how you got to do it.
Okay, and you may be answering this right now, but if you're meeting with new agents and you say, now let me reword this. You're meeting with a new agent, you say, here's what I wish I had known years ago. I'm going to pass it on to you.
Preparing or planning for taxes. 100%. And I think a lot of agents fall into that hole. They just don't pay enough into the taxes because, everything has to come out, and they know a lot enough, and then they get in trouble later on.
Right.
And a desperate agent that owes a bunch of taxes, they do desperate things, and it's kind of dangerous. So that's one lesson I learned a long time ago, was to make sure, and nobody ever taught me, nobody ever teaches you how to do finances once you get into real estate.
Right.
All this money's coming in, but how do you allot it to the right place? How much for taxes? You have to get a good bookkeeper or CPA on your side.
Who takes care of that for you?
Yeah.
It's funny that we're getting ready right now to do the business planning classes. I'm sure you're getting ready to do your business planning for next year. And that's one of the things I tell them. When you get a check, let's say a $15,000 commission check, and you think, yay, I got 15. You did not get 15,000. You got about 5,000. Then you have expenses and taxes and all the other things that we have to do.
Yeah.
There's a lot of it that goes right back out the window.
Yeah. People don't realize it though. They just,
Right.
and it's a trap for new agents every single time almost, unless you're told otherwise.
And you do not want to get on the wrong side of the
No,
IRS.
no.
So do you have any crazy or funny stories in real estate? Something you've seen that you thought was pretty out of the ordinary?
Let's see, strange. We just sold our house over in Mission Hills that was said to be haunted.
Really?
And even all the other agents used to tell me, and because I knew the one agent, his grandfather grew up in the house, so they told me all these stories. And the owner of the house goes, "Hey, I heard, do I need to disclose this, that it could be haunted?" I'm like, "Write it down, what the old lady down the street told you. Just write it in the disclosures. You can't prove that stuff."
Right.
And he wrote it in there saying the old lady came down the street and said the house is known to be haunted. So he put it in the disclosures, and the buyer that bought the house wanted it because he thought it was haunted. He liked it because it was haunted.
That became a selling point.
It was a selling point.
That's fantastic. But that's also, it's crazy, but true.
Yeah.
You better disclose it.
Yeah. If you know something or you think of something, somebody told you something, just tell them. It's not going to hurt the sale.
Where do you put that in the disclosures, by the way?
It was just under other things. I
Other?
think. Yeah, other.
Other may or may not be haunted.
Yeah, I think I forgot what this.
Buyer required to do all due diligence.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, we just resold that house like 2 weeks ago, and the people that bought it never had one experience.
And that's why they bought it. So did they disclose? Or
no,
did they
because
say, no,
nothing-
it wasn't?
Nothing
Right.
happened. So
Disappointing to say it's not haunted.
yeah. So
You slid a little one in there, and I don't know if people are catching it, but this is part of why your business is so successful. Yet we just resold that house. That's clients coming back over and over and over.
yeah, that's our business. Our referral business, I'd say, is 85%.
85%.
Because you stay in touch. The big thing is follow-up, fortunes in the follow-up. So we just closed on a house in La Jolla, $4,350,000. I met them 6 years ago at an open house. We just now got it. After all these years, I stayed in touch, told them what they need to do to prepare the property. It took them a long time.
That's all.
Yeah, but they were.
But it's a testament to your follow-up.
Yeah, it was ecstatic that we waited this long and we were patient and got it done.
Wow. How would you say your friends from, let's say especially from the military or from the days when you were in the private, the contractor, what do they think you do for a living? Like, what do they think your day is like?
They think I'm like, they call me Mr. Hollywood and all this other stuff. So they're like, 'cause they see me going to LA all the time, and all they see is the fun stuff on Facebook and social media, like dinners and wine and client
Right.
stuff, big houses. That's all they see, so they think that's it.
Right. That's the problem with social media. They
Yeah,
see that.
they see all that glamorous stuff. They don't see sometimes I'll throw in some of the, like I've posted, the sewer scope, which is the dirtiest part of our work.
Right.
Like, you want to see
This is
the
what it
dirty
really
part?
looks like. And I sometimes think about, I mean, in these days you get multiple offers in some of your homes. And you've got to go through every one of those, find out what's in it, what's not in it, be able to put into a comparative nature that
Yeah.
it's spread out all over tables. Most people would look at it and say, I couldn't make heads or tails of it, and I don't want any part of it.
Yeah.
Regular part of what you have to do.
Yeah, exactly. That's a lot of work, just in that in itself.
Maybe start posting that.
Yeah, yeah, true.
Here's what I really do.
Here's a spreadsheet of
Right.
what we have to go through and figure
Dinner in
out,
Hollywood sounds fun, but
and hope we don't miss anything.
right, but you can't,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you came out, you were with another broker before Compass. What made you decide Compass? Was it that already existed, this network you wanted to be a part of? Or?
that was one of it, but you know what got me in was the concierge program. Compass had approached me a year before I even joined, but I wasn't ready then. And I don't think they had the Compass concierge program rolled out. And
So
what-
define that for people who don't know, who are
so
watching.
I missed out on 4 listings because of Compass concierge.
Wow.
That was an eye opener.
That's an eye opener.
Yeah. So what Compass concierge offers is I can walk up to a house and go, hey, we need to redo your countertops. We need to paint the house inside and out. We need to stage it. We need to redo the landscaping. And they look at me going, I don't have any money for that. I'm like, that's okay. I'll give you a free loan. Compass will offer you a free loan. Pay for all these improvements. You just pay it back when we sell the house. And they're like, what's the catch? I was like, there is no catch.
Now, what's the small print?
And
What's the
it's
catch?
insane how well it works.
It's not that, because the first time I heard it, I said the same thing. Okay, but really,
That's what I said. I was like, show me the fine print, I'm like, what's really wrong? I said, no, we give you a debit card. You can use it. Hire all your own contractors. I'm like, what? I'm like, it's
right?
unheard
It's
of.
not a moneymaker. Don't use our people.
Yeah.
Why do you think Compass does that? Does that
Because-
for?
It sells quicker. That's more money in the long run. I've always been a big believer of staging, but, just giving somebody the option that doesn't have the money to stage and all that stuff, giving them that option makes a huge difference. And
Right.
we always net them more money every single time, because of that program.
I look at that and think that's probably the single greatest agent enhancing tool. I mean, it's helping the sellers, but
Yeah.
it's getting you in position to help people that you couldn't have done otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. We would have to show it in a house in a poor condition, which I don't like to do.
Right.
I have different standards on how I want to present a house, and that's not one of them. I like to get it showcase ready as much as possible. Sometimes you can't, but
There's only so much perfume you can put on the pig.
yeah, exactly.
So having joined it, Compass has lived up what you need, what you want. You're obviously developing
Yeah,
numerous.
doubled my business in the first year. We're going to double it again this year.
Wow.
So it's been nuts.
Yeah, that's the proof is in the
And
pudding.
we grew our team by several more agents. So and we expanded into Palm Springs.
I know you're growing your team because I get to sign the things. It's pretty impressive how much you're growing.
I think we're good right now. We're probably going to keep it where we're at.
What's drawing people to your team?
Just me helping them out to be successful. Like that's, a lot of these team leaders will want their name on every single transaction, and all the listings in the MLS will be their name. I don't do that. I let my team grow their brand too within
Right.
my brand. So it's I just do it a little differently.
I think they know. I think success attracts people.
Yeah.
You do well, and they want to be part of it because they know that'll rub off. You can show them.
Yeah, and I want to take a back seat for soon. I'll still sell real estate, but I'm going to focus on some commercial stuff, some hotels and things around the world. So, and I have people lined up in the team that'll take over. But I'm still going to be part of it, obviously.
Right, but you won't have to be so boots on the ground all the time.
All right.
Is there an agent, or has there been an agent that you really looked up to in this business? Patterned or said, I like
Yeah, I
some
mean,
of
my
what they do."
mentor was Bill Contreras. He was with Prudential back then, Steve Games
Right.
at Fairbanks Ranch, and he's the one that really taught me everything. However, he just also let me do a lot on my own. Like I was constantly asking him questions because he wasn't giving me answers, and so I was hungry. He goes, "I like you because you should get your license because you have your PhD." I'm like, "I don't have my PhD." He goes, "Yeah, you're poor, hungry, and driven." And
That's good.
The first house I ever sold was $3,750,000.
That was your first home?
It took me 8 months, and it was just a guy in a ratty T-shirt that walked into the house, and I took him, showed him properties, and we were in escrow that weekend.
Wow.
First rule of real estate is don't prejudge anyone by the way they look, what they drive, or anything.
You just don't know.
This guy turned in to be, it's the same thing what happened when I started working with celebrities. My biggest client was Rock Nation, and I didn't prejudge this kid that was buying a house in Lakeside. $400,000 house turned into working with the biggest music celebrities in the world because I didn't prejudge him.
Wow.
I took his word for it. I trust but verify.
Right, right.
Always.
And then you give them, like you said, the service that you would give, doesn't matter who they are.
Yeah.
I may have never heard of you. You're going to get the service I give to the most famous people.
Yeah, and his mom saw that, and she's the one that really changed our life.
It really comes down to that. It comes down to who you are and how you're going to treat other people.
Yeah.
What would you say is a perception of real estate or real estate agents that the public has that you know is not true?
Greedy, used car salesman. You get this,
Okay, just one.
yeah. It's just people think that we live this glamorous life and we're making all this money. They don't see all the background stuff, the hard work that goes into it. They don't see the number of hours a day we put into it, and then they don't see where all the money goes.
Right, right. It does
That's
not
the
go to
biggest
you.
thing. They don't see any of that. They don't understand what a broker split is. They don't understand that we have to pay taxes and all of our own marketing and all of our own expenses. They don't see E&O insurance. There's so many expenses with each transaction. They just don't see that. All they see is like, oh, you got a big commission check. Yeah, but half of it's gone.
Right. It looks big,
Yeah,
but
look,
it's not.
Yeah.
All right. Todd, if you had, you have a billboard, you get to put up a billboard over on Interstate 8 and it can say anything you want. What would it say?
You know what? I don't know. I'd probably just put our tagline on, just, $1 million service at all price points, to just stick to our existing marketing.
Stay consistent.
Yeah, our
Okay.
brand. I mean, there's a lot of funny memes I would like to.
Right.
But,
Okay. Can you give us one of those?
You have to see them. They're visual.
Oh, they're memes. Oh, okay.
Memes, yeah. I'm always making those.
All right. You can have dinner with any three people, living or dead. Who would you have dinner with?
Probably the band members of Queen.
Really?
Yeah, I think it'd be, yeah. I mean, Freddie Mercury, yeah. Or,
Just-
Pink Floyd. Like, it's all music people mostly. But
Mm-hmm.
and that was one of my favorite bands. So,
So there's a draw. I didn't know about that. You have a real draw to music, a real passion.
yeah, somewhat. Yeah, I mean, I've always liked music. Everybody does. Music brings people together. Food, music, and drink.
That's what brings everybody together. Is it with these certain brands you're mentioning, the history, or they were there when
It's how I was growing up. I wore those albums, vinyl.
albums? Yeah. We'll put a thing underneath that runs
Yeah.
that says what an album is.
8-track tape.
Oh, geez. 8-track tapes. I remember those. Okay. One of the things I do when I'm in coaching a lot is talk about I am, like the most important words in your world or any words that follow I am. So complete that sentence. I am
Grateful.
grateful.
Gratitude is the attitude you should be having, because giving out, being a connector, But gratitude is like just being grateful for everything in your life, no matter what. It'll come back to you tenfold. Helping somebody out when they need help, don't expect anything in return. It'll come back to you 1,000 times. It might not be right now. It might be 5 years from now. But treat those people, listen. That's another big lesson, is listening. I am a better listener now. I used to struggle at listening. So one thing I learned from Mark Cuban, when we take a meeting, he would write at the top of his page, listen, the word listen. That was his biggest lesson. So I still do it. I write it on the top pad of a notepad. When I'm taking a meeting, I just put listen, and I'll sit there. Because if I don't see it, I'll try to interrupt.
Because there's a big difference. People think listening versus actively paying attention to what a person's saying.
Yeah, and I look at other people that do it really well, and I'm like, I want to do that. I like, man, you're a good listener.
I like Mark Cuban listen. The one I was taught, I always put at the top, or I put on the wall in back of me, is wait, WAIT. Why am I talking?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one too. I've heard that before. Yeah.
Right? Hard to go wrong with Mark Cuban, though.
Yeah, it's true.
All right, so I have the 10 questions that I stole from inside the Actors Studio.
Okay.
Actually, I changed a few of them because we're family friendly, but
All right.
these are the 10 questions I end all these interviews with.
Okay.
What is your favorite word?
I think we already talked about that. Gratitude.
Gratitude.
Yeah.
I would have been surprised if it was any other word.
Yeah.
What is your least favorite word?
Moist. It's just a joke.
I'm not supposed to be involved in this part. Just ask the question. What sound or noise do you love?
A growl of a good muscle car, Or I can't go wrong with jet noise, because I grew up on an aircraft carrier, pretty much. F-14 Tomcat and Afterburner. That's a good noise.
That's a good noise. What sound or noise do you hate?
Drill at the dentist. That's why I have to wear headphones at the dentist.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be and why?
Be able to speak every language of the world.
Why would you choose that as a superpower?
Because I love to travel, and I think that just be able to communicate with every single person in the world in their native language, I think it would just be cool.
Again, we see why you're so connect with people.
Yeah.
I like connecting with people.
I mean, that's been a hashtag for a long time, be a connector. Whether it helps you or not, now or later, just be a connector.
Just know you're always paying in. It's always
And
good.
it doesn't have to be real estate. It could be, this guy needs a recommendation for this, or I know somebody that can help you get this job.
I was talking to somebody about you, and they said that you were a hell of a resource.
Yeah.
That's how they called you, a great resource.
Yeah, I always have, a big portfolio of just everything.
Whatever you need,
Yeah.
I got a recommendation.
Yeah, usually. And if I don't, I know where to get it. That's the key.
You don't have to have all the answers.
No.
Just know where to get them.
That's the beauty of this business.
How do you cure a hangover?
I saw that in your question. So just drink lots of water right before you go to bed the day before.
That sounds
There's
easy.
no cure.
No.
You can drink all the water you want. What we used to do in the Navy is in the mornings, if you showed up, just take liquid oxygen from the top hats. We'd breathe in liquid oxygen. That was pure oxygen, always helps.
Wow. I heard that before, that part of the hangover is we're not breaking down oxygen right from the alcohol.
Yeah.
Well, if you have access to an F-14 and you're hungover, that's the
or any naval aircraft.
any naval aircraft.
Yeah.
It simplifies it for the rest of us. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Probably a pilot. Yeah. I probably would have been a pilot, but my eyesight was too bad. I couldn't do it back in the day. Now they allow you to get LASIK and stuff, but before that was in existence.
Do you ever think about getting a pilot's license now?
I have thought about that. Yeah. Yeah. No, I was just saying, I just haven't done it yet.
Okay. Should have went back to the, I didn't ask you if you could take on any project and know you wouldn't fail.
I'm trying to think. Probably just like a big development deal, because we got a couple coming up and I've never done one, so I'm just up for the challenge.
Love to jump in.
Yeah.
All right. What profession would you not like to do?
Moving companies, painters, both those I detest. I don't know how people do that for a living.
Thank God somebody does.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's your favorite spot in San Diego?
Favorite spot? I'd probably say Balboa Park, because we spent a lot of time up there. Different areas, the museums and the restaurants and things like that.
You're going to have a different spot every day.
Yep, yep.
Number 10, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
That's hard. I didn't look at that one. I guess welcome, and meet the rest of your family that have gone before you.
Here's your family.
Yeah,
I love it. Thank you for doing this.
yeah, you're welcome.
It was really fun. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Todd Armstrong.
In the flesh.
Working on the plot and the scheme. The true stock trademark is at the edge of your dreams. I'm talking one shot for the kill. The breeze come freeze up, straight dropping the chills. I'm talking taking over pieces and shares of all.